What is up, everybody? Fish Venture here, and we are back on my favorite lake. This is my hometown lake, Folsom Lake. Try and get out here at least a couple times a month. I mean, really good fishery. Today I am going to be showing everybody how to target my favorite landlocked fish species, and that is landlocked salmon. Now, I'm not talking kokanee salmon, I am talking landlocked king salmon. That is my absolute favorite freshwater fishery. The fish are super robust, really good eating, ton of fun to catch, and I can catch them right here in my own backyard. So kind of a niche fishery. I mean, we're going to jump right into it here pretty quickly, but it's super popular up here in Northern California. There's a handful of lakes that Fish and Game stock with king salmon, and they tend to do pretty well out in these lakes. They get pretty big. I mean, we've caught fish in the 25 to 30 inch class, but it's also popular all over the country. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways that I catch them. The first way is my favorite way, kind of more specific to Folsom Lake, but the second way that I catch these fish is a little bit more common with how you would catch them in the ocean, just kind of shrunken down in terms of the baits and lures that we're using. So first things first, the setup I'm using. So this is the same setup I use whether I'm fishing for trout, king salmon, kokanee. It is a 7-foot Salilo Kokanee Pro 2-piece ultralight rod, $40 rod. I have a Bass Pro bait cast style reel with the clicker setup. Makes it a little bit easier when you're fishing with the downrigger. And then I'm just running 6-pound fluorocarbon. So that tends to work really well for most of the fish that I'm catching. We're going to be trolling today. So we're going to be trolling and we're going to be using downriggers. So really, to effectively target these fish, depending on where they are at in the water column, you need to use downriggers. It's the only way you're going to get your lure down and effectively present it in front of the fish. So the lure that we're going to be using is, it's an iteration of a spoon. It's called a speedy shiner. I'm sure you've heard of it. So this is a 1/16 ounce speedy shiner. This is the smallest of all of the speedy shiner varieties. I find that there's a handful of different colors that works well, but rainbow color is my favorite pattern. Regardless of what colors we're running out of the back, I will always have a rainbow trout colored pattern when I'm fishing for landlocked salmon. And the coolest thing about these fish is the same way that we target salmon, we target trout. So you will almost always catch a trout whenever you're catching salmon. So it's not just one specific bait that we use, and we have no ability to catch any other species. I've even caught bass on it too. So it's nice to know that whatever we have in the water is going to be working for whatever fish are around. Middle of December now, so the fishing is not great, but it's always good in Folsom. So last week it was super foggy. I couldn't even get out here to the South Fork to where I normally like to fish. But today it's a little more clear, still got some cloud cover, which is probably going to be nice for the fishing. So we just got going about 10 minutes ago, and yeah, so 1/16 ounce speedy shiner. I use a stainless steel snap swivel. A lot of guys will kill me for using this, but it makes it super easy to change out the lures depending on what color you want to run. I find that it doesn't affect the action that much. You can take the little snap ring off of the top of the lure. That way you don't have this double swivel snap ring setup, but I run it straight like this out of the box, stainless steel snap swivel to my 6-pound fluorocarbon line, and it's super easy, super clean, easy to swap lures out. And then what we're gonna do is just throw this thing out the back. I have not found out where the fish are holding yet. So the thing about these landlocked salmon is they can hold anywhere in the water column. So I've caught them 5-10 feet deep. I've caught them as deep as 50 or 60 feet deep. So right now I have one set up at 10 feet. I have one at 25 feet. We are marking fish at roughly anywhere from like 15 to 50 feet. So I may drop this other one down a little bit deeper. Typically early in the morning, we're gonna catch fish a little bit closer to the surface, but there's no telling. That's why I like to have 3 downriggers. It's easier to cover multiple depths and figure out where these fish are hiding. I think the reason why this fishery does so well here is about 5 miles downstream at the Nimbus Fish Hatchery. That is really the main reason we have a king salmon fishery on the West Coast. So they are responsible for, you know, spawning and stocking the majority of the king salmon population that we see here in the American Sacramento River out in the Pacific Ocean. And the cool thing about catching the fish out here is it's like they're in the middle of their life cycle. So it's like catching a king salmon out in the middle of the ocean. So they're super good eating. It's not like when they go to spawn upriver and they're only good to smoke and they're halfway about to die. These fish are actively feeding, they're actively eating. We're not going for a reaction strike. You know, we are imitating the bait fish that they are feeding off of. So I'm gonna get this line out. We're gonna drop this one down roughly 35 feet and see if we can't hook up to a fish. Fish on. This bait was about 25 feet deep. Can't tell if it's a salmon or a trout yet. Feels like a salmon by the way its head shaking. And it was the rainbow speedy shiner, just like always. Oh my gosh, it's a pike minnow. That's crazy. I haven't caught one of these in years out here. It's actually an invasive species. This thing is huge though. Oh my God. Yeah, these were really bad a few years back. Huge. We'll let him go. Usually I kill those things, but we'll keep it PG for the YouTube channel. So now I am going to show you my second favorite method to use when it comes to catching these landlocked salmon. Sometimes this method can be a little bit more effective in the winter months when the water's colder and the fish aren't as active. So this rig is going to look really familiar, especially if you fish for salmon in the ocean or if you fish for kokanee salmon. So what this setup is going to be a dodger with a hoochie. So very standardized rig. I am using a Seps 4/0 dodger. This one happens to be the gold color, so I will run 3 different color dodgers until I figure out what's working and then change it up to that style color. So I also have a kind of rainbow trout pattern dodger, and then I have another one that is silver and pink with some UV paint on it. So we'll see which one the salmon and trout like most today. I have roughly a 14-inch leader, and then this is a blue and white style hoochie. I'm also running a orange hoochie and a pink hoochie. So again, kind of mix it up until you figure out what's working out here. This is a very simple rig. I do like to add scent on the back of this, and what I will use is this Procure anchovy scent. You can also use krill. I mean, really any natural scent that these fish would smell in the ocean. So even though these fish aren't in the ocean, I think it triggers like an instinctual reaction to get them to bite. So got my stainless steel ball bearing snap swivel, Seps 4/0 dodger, 14-inch leader with a hoochie behind it. We're gonna slow it down for this type of presentation. So really like 1 to 1.5 miles an hour is going to be perfect. Again, I don't usually rely on the speedo. What I like to do is put the bait in the water and make sure it's got a good natural action to it. And if the dodger is swinging back and forth side to side, just like how you want it to, then that means you're going the right speed. Another thing to keep in mind, this dodger is going to go down probably 10 or 15 feet on its own when you're going this slow. So you don't need to drop the downrigger quite as low. Excuse me, quite as low like if you were just using a spoon like a speedy shiner. So just be mindful of that whenever you're dropping it down. So you need to factor an extra 10 or 15 feet that this dodger is going to go down on its own. So we're going to get this one down. I have one at 10, I have one at 20, and then we're going to drop this one down probably somewhere in the middle. It looks like we're marking fish all over the water column, currently 60 feet deep, and we'll see what we can come up with. So we are going to wrap it up. Super challenging day here. The fish did not want to play ball. So didn't catch a trout, didn't catch a salmon, which is what I was showing you guys how to catch. But we caught a monster pike minnow. So no skunk. I'll probably still post the video. I mean, the methods that I showed today are the methods that I've used for the past 10 years, and they absolutely are effective. It's just a matter of finding these fish. This fishery here at Folsom has becoming more and more challenging over the years. I think just more fishing pressure and maybe a little less fish to catch, but anyways, it was still nice to get out on the water. Not nearly as foggy as last week, and for middle of December, not too cold at all. So I appreciate everybody watching these videos. Thanks for the support, thanks for the likes, thanks for the subscriptions. Please keep it going, guys, and thanks for watching my video. Cheers.